Today on Homeworthy, we're taking you into the idyllic Sonoma Wine Country home of interior designer Lisa Furtado. The bright and lush landscapes surrounding her historic home provided the perfect backdrop for the interiors, which she infused with a soothing and layered color palette that feels right out of a Nancy Meyers movie. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
Hey Homeworthy, I'm Lisa Furtado and welcome to our historic home in Kenwood, California, in the heart of Sonoma Wine Country. So the living room is the first room that you walk into from the porch. So there's no real entryway in this house. So we wanted to create sort of some sense of transition and entry. So we did a row of hooks here. We have this antique bench here just to throw things on. But in general, you just walk in straight into the living room. So the house was built in 1912, and for reference, that's the year that the Titanic sank. And for baseball fans, that is the year Fenway Park was built. It was a couple years before World War I, and it was also the time of the arts and crafts movement. So that was a decorative trend that started in Britain and made its way to the United States. And it was really this response and reaction to the Victorian era, which coincided with the Industrial Revolution. So at that time, there was mass production of goods and decorative moldings. It was sort of this more is more over the top style of Victorian home. So when that era had run its course, people were really craving a return to a more simplified way of life. And it was sort of the Marie Kondo era of its time, and were the same guiding principles that you should really only bring things into your home that are functional or that you find beautiful. So from that sentiment, the Craftsman home was born. And this is a typical Craftsman home in that it has a lot of the features that a Craftsman would: the low pitched roof, large porch, high windows, wainscoting, and really all of these features are a way to bring the outside in. And this house has the original windows in many parts of the home with the leaded glass, and you can see the wave in the glass. It really adds charm to the home. One of my favorite features is the diamond-shaped grids on the windows. It really adds charm and character to the home. This room is fairly small as a living room, so we added this oversized mirror to really give the illusion that it was bigger. This particular mirror is from Anthropology, and it's just sitting on the ground, although it is attached to the wall, but it just sits behind the sofa. We intentionally kept a neutral palette in this house because the house is so saturated on the outside. I wanted to feel like a rest for the eye when you came inside. So we have a lot of natural materials, neutral colors in here. It feels very much like the landscape of Sonoma. And Sonoma is very casual also. So I wanted to maintain that sentiment in the house. So this is not the main hangout area of our house. If we want to watch TV, we'll go in the carriage house where there's a large sectional in there. But if one of us is here, we'll pop on the sofa and watch television, or we'll put a game on. This is a frame TV, so it's meant to look like art, which is perfect for the space because when you walk into a room, the last thing you want to stare at is a big black box. So this works perfect. You can change the image, although we've kept this image for the last couple of years. Now I'll take you into the kitchen. So one of the first places during the open house that I went to was straight to this window seat. And I sat here and looked outside and really envisioned what the house could be. People that have been to the house have said that the house has great energy. And it's really the feeling that I got from the first time that I walked through the door. And it's hard to explain, but it's sort of like the feeling that the house had a peaceful soul and a happy past. And knowing that the original owner was a female poet and her sister was a established watercolorist, I feel like this house really has some great, strong female creative energy. And I've always felt this sense of stewardship to not only honor the history of the house, but to maintain its beauty and to bring it to its full potential. One of my favorite features of this house is the tall windows here. Now, before we moved in, it was just all sprawling lawn, which was fantastic, but we knew that we'd eventually put a pool in. And this is great because I can be in the kitchen and peek out the windows and see the kids playing in the pool. Another feature I love is this butcher block top on the island. And it's a white kitchen, but the butcher block top really gives a sense of contrast and really breaks up the space and gives it depth and dimension. We do cook a lot in this house because we entertain a ton, but most of the cooking is actually done in the outdoor kitchen, which I'll show you later. This banquette seating here is one of my favorites. I love to sit here and have a cup of coffee, and this is where I love to work from home. We wanted to keep it fairly casual and not have anything too precious in this house. So this table is a reproduction, but it's unsealed, so you can see it's dinged and has water stains and the whole bit, but it's really a space that I wanted people to feel comfortable in and be able to relax. These chairs are antique bentwood chairs, which I love, and they have that kind of rustic, worn feeling with the leather and the nail head trim. And then this banquette seating here can fit so many kids or adults, and we play Monopoly and games around it. And of course, in the winter, we'll eat here, but in the summertime, we typically are outside enjoying the Sonoma warmth. So as you can see, we have lots of cut flowers around the house, and these are all from the yard. And depending on the season, I'll cut flowers and bring them in. But these hydrangea I cut in the fall and dried, and they dry really well and preserve really well. So this is a picture here of the couple that built the home. Their names were Ned and Nell Wilson, and they owned the Kenwood Mercantile, which was across from the train station in Kenwood, and that was really the hub of Kenwood at the time. Nell was a well-known poet and published poet, and she was friends with novelist Jack London, who wrote, as you may know, The Call of the Wild and The Valley of the Moon. So Jack London and his wife Charmaine were storied to have come to the house many times. And I know this because the previous owners, who took wonderful care of the house and they made some beautiful upgrades, they also did a historical report on the house. And I also know this because last year a man knocked on the door and told us that his mom was born in the front room over here. His grandparents were Ned and Nell Wilson, who built the house. And so, of course, we were excited to talk to him, and he was excited to tour the house, and we showed him around, and he showed us where he'd play outside as a kid. And he came back with 2 huge boxes of photo albums. And we spent hours going through these black and white original photos of his grandparents and his parents and people in front of the house and around the house. And it was so cool to see the house in its original state. I think for any homeowner of a historic home, it's such a gift to see a house in its original state, but especially as a designer, that information is priceless. We're gonna go into the butler's pantry now, which is a small space, but where all the magic happens, the caffeine and the cocktails. But this is one of my favorite little spaces to come in the morning, and the light shines through the windows, and make a cup of coffee and start my day. Let me bring you in this way and show you this little, we call it the French bathroom, but it's just this little closet bathroom that it has high ceilings, so there was enough space for cabinetry and a light and a tiny little French faucet and sink there. But that's useful for a guest to have. This space is sort of the breezeway, and I don't know what it was originally, but I call it my artist studio, even though I don't paint much. But we have this antique French easel here that I just keep art on. And we have kind of a collection of some original oil paintings and some prints and some photography that I love. But this bay of windows is just amazing because you can walk in here and the light floods in and you can see the entire yard from this space. So I'll bring you upstairs to the attic bedrooms. So in the attic bedrooms, we kept the original floors, which are over 100 years old. As you can see, they are beat up and scuffed and super creaky, but I thought it added to the charm of this space. So one of our main goals in the house was to be able to bring people and entertain and maximize sleeping space. So in this room, we have 4 trundle beds that all pull out, so we can really sleep 8 kids or adults. We've had some adult slumber parties in this room. Can sleep 8 people in this space. I knew I wanted to do something graphic and fun in this space. So we took the wallpaper all the way around. And this antique rug I had held on to for literally years and didn't have a place for it. And as soon as we put this room together, I thought this is going to be perfect in here. So I love the coordination with the rug and the wallpaper, and love these woven hanging pendants here on each side of the bed. They have little on and off switches that the kids can switch them on when they're reading or playing a game. So we brought the wallpaper all the way around the room, but left this wall out. And the reason for that is because eventually I'd like to put a bathroom up here. A lot of these older homes, the attic spaces didn't have plumbing on the second level. So this is really a space where the kids have a blast having slumber parties and bringing lots of friends. But it would be really nice if there was at least a sink and a toilet in here so they could have their own bathroom up here and not have to go downstairs in the middle of the night. So this is all the original wainscoting here. It's a very small bedroom. The mirrors on the closet really do help to visually expand the space. So I wanted to do a gallery wall that sort of drew your eye up. So this is a collection of a few original pieces, a piece that I got at Goodwill. This is actually one of my favorite oil paintings. It has a sort of dark, moody vibe. And one of these is actually a piece that was done by my daughter, who was 7 at the time, that one up there. But we had it in our house for a couple years, and I thought, I need one more piece up there. And it was the perfect size and the perfect geometric layout that really finished the space. For clients, when I'm doing a gallery wall, I typically lay it out and cut out pieces of paper in the size of the art that we're working with, or we do it on SketchUp and do a rendering. When it's my own house, it's an evolution of putting things up and down and around and just working it until it gets right. When you're in your own house, you kind of have the luxury of time. So this collection really is just that. So trial and error and lots of nail holes. Not anything that I would do in a client's house, but in my own space, it worked. So the chandelier is one of my favorites that I've used in projects before, and it's from Made Goods. It's made of these tiny little beads and sort of has this fabric-like lightness to it. The windows are original with this diamond grid, and all of the hardware looks to be original as well. And some of it's in sort of a precarious situation here. And to open these, some of them you kind of have to give a nudge to, but it is really the most charming thing about this house, these original windows. And I love waking up in the morning and seeing the view through those grids. It just really adds character and charm to the home. We don't have window coverings on the windows because I just did not want to cover anything up, and there's just not a whole lot of space to work with on the molding flanking the windows, so we just kept it open. So we're going old school, just going to sleep in the dark and waking to the sunrise. These pieces here were sort of in the process of the gallery wall, and I had these sitting here for a while, and I really love these particular pieces. They just didn't work in the gallery wall, but now I keep them here because it just seems like sort of this romantic thing to just have your art on the floor ready to be hung at any moment. So this house had these openings here, and I am not quite sure what they were for, and I didn't know what to put in there. And then I found these antique pieces of luggage, and they fit perfectly and sort of went with the style of the room. The house was built in 1912, the year the Titanic sank, so This is sort of a nod to the Titanic. I don't know if that's creepy or cool, but going with it. So I'll bring you into the guest bathroom now. So this bathroom looked very different, although I really wanted to keep the original clawfoot tub. It's not the most functional, but it's so beautiful. We painted the base the same color as the wainscoting that we painted. It's this dark charcoal gray. And we refinished the inside of the tub so it looks as good as new. The diamond grid windows there are original windows again, but we painted them the same deep charcoal color. We replaced the vanity and the mirror, and we added this wallpaper. It took a while and a few different tries to find just the right wallpaper, but I really love this one. And it has these intricate vines, and it looks like there's grapes hanging from some of the vines, and it really just does bring that historic feel to the space. So the floor, I don't know that it was original to the early 1900s, but it was here, and it's marble, it's beautiful. So we kept the marble floors. We refinished the bathtub. I really wanted to keep the original clawfoot bathtub, so we just painted the base and had the inside refinished. So the window is original. We just painted it dark. It has the same diamond grids as many of the other parts of the home. We just added the little cafe curtain there. The lights are all new. The mirror is new. The vanity and the marble top is all new, but really designed it in a way that felt authentic to the home and felt historic. So let me take you outside, because this is the space that we've done the most work and that we spend the most time in. So the backyard is where we spend most of our time, and it looked very different than it does today. Although there are some original features out here. The tank house is one of them. And in Sonoma County, you'll find lots of these tank houses. If you pay attention, they are like relics in Sonoma. And we have the original well here. The tank houses, before modern plumbing and electricity, they would use windmills to pump the water from the well up to a tank and use gravity to push it down to the pipes. One of the main draws of this piece of property was the large, expansive lawn. But we knew with the warmth in Sonoma that we eventually wanted to put in a pool. We were a little concerned that we were going to eat up the space of the lawn, but as you can see, we still have a ton of lawn space. And the kids are out here all the time playing wiffle ball and throwing a football around. And we put an in-ground trampoline at the far side of the lawn, which was a bit of a negotiation with my husband, because he's a little freaked out about trampolines, but this is more for me than anyone else. But we positioned the pool on this side of the property for a couple reasons. It had to have a certain setback from the well and the septic. So we positioned it on this side, but I always envisioned the kids jumping on the trampoline and running and jumping into the pool. We also built this arbor above the fence, and I had another vision of this arbor full of pink roses that would frame the pool. And in the spring, it's done just that. It's so beautiful to see those roses pop and just create this frame on the pool. They only last 3 or 4 weeks, but those few weeks are glorious. This is a place that we entertain a ton, and when we designed the space, we had that in mind. So we sort of have these zones on the property, one of them being the pool space and the sectional over in the corner, the seating by the pool. We have the table and umbrella here, the fire pit with the chairs surrounding it. We have a dining table there, the long antique dining table with the hanging pendants above the tree. And we also have cornhole and ping pong over on this side of the house, and the carriage house, which I'll show you next. The outdoor kitchen is one of my favorite spaces, and it probably took the longest to design. My husband really wanted a all-encompassing kitchen where he could do all the cooking and not have to go inside to the kitchen. And there's quite a bit of distance between the outdoor kitchen and the indoor kitchen. So we really did maximize the outdoor space with all of the appliances that you would need to cook a full meal. We have, starting in this corner, a beer tap. We have refrigeration here, a freezer, storage, spices, of course, a barbecue. We have a side burner here, beverage center, ice maker, trash, sink, dishwasher. A lot of people asked us why we would put wood cabinetry in this kitchen, but it's actually stainless steel. So it's super durable. The cabinets are by Brown Jordan in partnership with Danvers. And I wanted to create this sense of connection with the house and sort of this cottage style of cabinetry, which you don't typically see in an outdoor kitchen. One of my favorite features is the tile backsplash, and it really does connect the color with the color of the house. The countertops are porcelain made to look like poured concrete. And poured concrete, I love the look of it, but it's very porous, and even if you seal it, you're still gonna get the watermarks eventually. And the porcelain, once it's installed, is very durable. It's a little tricky. You'll have to find a knowledgeable fabricator to do the install, but once it's here, it's pretty much bulletproof. We installed the television in the direction of the pool because I had envisioned the kids and adults watching TV and games from the hot tub and from the bar stools and from the lounge chairs. So we really do utilize the television out here mainly for football and baseball games, but occasionally we'll do an outdoor movie out here, so it's really fun. The fire pit is a space that we spend a lot of time into the night, and we'll sit around here, have great conversation. The kids will often play guitar, and even if there's no one sitting around the fire pit, we'll turn it on because it really is a nice ambiance to be able to sit in the hot tub and see that glow of a fire. Let me take you now to the pool house. So when we built this space in 2020, as you can remember, doors and windows were really hard to source at that time. There was a lead time of like 18 to 24 months. So we had to get a little bit creative. And I found these antique bifolding doors that I feel like fit perfectly and really did the job of connecting the new space with the old space. So again, this was a space that we wanted to maximize sleeping space. So we have queens on the bottom, twins up top. So this can sleep 2, 4, 5, 6 kids, maybe 7 if they're small. And we have the bathroom here. The tile is one of my absolute favorites. It's this glass and marble mosaic, and it really does just speak pool house. So this structure here is what we call the carriage house. I don't know what it was originally, or if it was original. I'm assuming not, because it has a foundation. But this was a space the previous owners had used as an office. And this was a great opportunity to create a space for the kids and especially the teenagers to hang until the late wee hours of the night. So we have a large sectional, the pool table here. The kids just come and hang, and it's a space that stays really cool also. So the kids will just sort of duck in here when the weather is really warm. But they'll play video games. These built-in cabinets were here. I think the previous owners put them in. I didn't love the color particularly, but we painted the entire thing this really dark black navy color, and it really did make this beautiful contrast with the paint. And we did the beadboard ceiling, hung a really large pendant, and just created sort of this cool casual vibe for the kids. The kids are 12, 15, and 17, so this is really the ideal hangout for them. They can come in here and play pool, play the guitar, play video games, wrestle, do all the things. And the kids, especially the teenagers, will stay out here till the wee hours of the night, and they'll close the door and feel like this is their own space. There's nothing too precious in here, which I wanted to create this casual vibe that they could feel comfortable and feel like they weren't gonna break anything. And so we love this space for them and for us to be able to close the doors and not hear anything into the night. This is the room above the tank house, and in my opinion, it's the best bed in the house. You really feel like you are in a tree house when you're up here. It has this beautiful view of the pool. You feel like you're in the trees looking out these windows here. It's, again, very casual. The bedding doesn't match, but I did want to keep it that cool, casual Sonoma vibe up here. This was actually my daughter's Zoom classroom when the schools were closed down. We Zoom schooled from this house, and she set up shop here, and this was her classroom. This floor lamp was one that I picked up from an antique store. I love the intricacies of the iron. This oil painting here also, I picked up at the same antique store at the same time, and I just love the way the colors play with the rest of the room. The rug is another antique, and it fit perfectly between the beds. And again, we use this space to maximize sleeping space. So we have the 2 beds here, and also one mattress underneath that bed there that we can pull out. So 3 kids can sleep up here. You may be wondering what's at the bottom of the tower. It's just a little shed and storage for garden materials and the like. I won't show you inside because I've made quite a mess of it. Let me show you one more thing out here. It's the outdoor shower. In the summertime, people will come out here and actually prefer the outdoor shower to the indoor shower. This outdoor faucet is one that I actually found on Amazon. It was the end of the project, ran out of money, and I thought I'd just get this as a temporary fixture, and it has turned out to be one of the best plumbing fixtures in the house. It has a few different settings: the shower, the handheld, you can wash your feet, and there's also a light here so people can come around the back, switch the light on, and take an outdoor shower under the stars. I want to tell you about the porch. Typical to craftsman homes, this house has a very large, deep porch. And I always wanted a porch swing as a kid. And I knew from the moment that we bought this house that I was going to put a porch swing in. I love this particular one. It's by Charleston Bed Swing. And it really just does give that southern vibe, along with the rocking chairs. And I love potting plants here in the spring and the summer. So this is my happy place. First places that I come with a cup of coffee before I make my way to the workspace in the banquette if I'm working from home. The house is sort of this periwinkle blue color. And the house was painted blue by the Cundy family when they lived here. And it was painted sometime in the 40s or 50s. And when we moved here, people would ask, are you going to change the color of the home? And I said, oh gosh, no, I wouldn't dare. The house has been the same color for the last 70 or 80 years. So we decided to just really lean into the blue. And that's what we've done on the exterior. So we're making periwinkle cool again in the most classic and timeless way, of course. This house really feels like home to us because we have honored the history of the house and kept a lot of the original features, but brought in our own sense of style. So it really does feel like ours.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.